Good morning. It is Monday, July 17th, 2017. This is the Bitter Knitters podcast. I'm Jacqueline. I'm here joined with Arthur.
Hello.
Our other host, Ryan, has come down with, I don't know, consumption, something.
Dysentery.
Dysentery, that's a good one. Probably syphilis.
Syphilis.
But he's unable to be here today. So get well soon, Ryan. Hopefully you're here on Wednesday's show. So we have a few things to talk about this week. It's kind of been a slow news weekend, really.
Yeah, it really was.
So we have a few things. I want to do a couple of updates. I need to go back. I forgot that I wanted to go back to, we had a comment of the week from last week, from Monday's show, when we were talking about the beautiful, beloved show where we talked about Omar Khadr.
Yeah.
We have a comment from, hold on, I keep getting the playing of the other shows. From James G. He says, Khadr deserves the $10 million and more. Let's get the facts straight. America bombed the area and did not expect anyone to be alive there. Then the soldier went in and saw a person beside Khadr move and shot him in the head. Khadr would be in self-defense mode anyway. Khadr may not have thrown the grenade he was tortured into saying he might have. Khadr is the only person charged, though thousands of soldiers were killed. Americans are lying pieces of crap, invading countries and killing people in countries without declaring war. Americans are all criminals, and they should be charged with the crimes, not Khadr and other European people who are just defending themselves against decadent American greedy oil stealers.
Well put, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's his opinion. He's entitled to that. He's very...
One quick rebuttal that I have is not building IEDs a fucking war crime. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I agree with him in this sense. Because after we had our show, I did read another article that kind of did a timeline. I never heard that there wasn't... I was always told that Khadr was the only one left. Then after I read that there was another soldier in there, and they never allowed this U.S. officer to testify that there was another soldier in there. And that Khadr was covered. They had to uncover him from rubble. So how did he throw a grenade if he was covered? So I don't know. That's the two things that I heard. And it does make sense, because this is the other thing. No other... I mean, have you ever heard of any other soldier being... I don't want to call him a soldier. Any other person charged in the death specifically of a soldier, one specific soldier, in any time in America's history during a war or an invasion or anything like that?
I kind of think with that whole case, it's the fact of him being North American and easily kind of, we could pin down who it was kind of deal.
Yeah.
I kind of think it's kind of the same with a lot of these Dutch and English people going over to fight with ISIS. I think we'll see a lot more of this stuff in the near future, where we can actually say, no, this is who this person is. We got to take some type of action against them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I kind of agree with that. He does have a Canadian passport, Canadian citizenship.
Yeah,
he does.
Exactly.
Maybe he can be held more accountable because you're not from Afghanistan, you're not from Iraq or Pakistan or any of these countries, and now you're waging war specifically against.
And that was pretty much my whole anger towards it, right? It was not the fact of what he did. I don't really care. I mean, fuck it. It's a war over there. People are fucking killing each other all the time. I'm not going to beat myself up over it. It was just the whole, the guy is a Canadian. I hold all Canadians to a way higher standard.
Yeah. And I get that point. And thank you, James G., for your posting and your opinion.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Please post again. I wanted to definitely update everybody on Charlie Gard. We also talked about him last week.
Yeah.
He's still in the same condition as far as I'm aware of. But I will say that a couple of stories came out. One, I guess, just broke overnight while we were sleeping. His parents are angry that the lawyer that's been appointed to represent Charlie Gard and have his, his rights and his best interest. She is a lawyer who's the chairman in charge of Compassion in Dying and a sister organization called Dignity in Dying. So she's pro-euthanasia, and they kind of feel like that she might not be unbiased.
That's a
fair
point.
I definitely get that. I mean, if you're supposed to be representing someone's rights, you can't be leaning to one side before you even come into the case.
Shouldn't it be kind of like a two-part thing, though? Like maybe have someone who's pro-euthanasia and then someone who's like staunchly against it come to a fairly decent middle ground?
Yeah, well, you would think so. I mean, and why is just one person in charge? I think maybe you should have one or two, three people kind of, three people, you know, just to make sure things are on the up and up, you know, because if you have one pro and one against, you need somebody kind of in the middle that would hopefully, you know, I don't know. I would be upset too, you know, as the parents of them. But also last week, they stormed out of court.
Yeah.
They were very upset, understandably. I mean, like we said a million times, we understand why they're upset. Because they felt like they should be the ones that are allowed to speak on his behalf. They don't want this lawyer speaking on his behalf.
Yeah.
They want to be able to, and they've been denied kind of, you know, this right. I don't even know if it's called a right, but the ability to go and speak for their son. And basically they'd be begging the courts.
Yeah.
Because that's what it would come down to. And the other thing is today, a doctor from America will be showing up to examine him. And he's hopefully going to see if they want to use on him in this American hospital has any viable chance to save Charlie. And also there's a doctor who's remaining anonymous, but people believe he's from the Vatican to come and examine Charlie as well.
So that makes sense because of course they got to stick their nose in it.
Yeah.
You know, you can't, the church can't have something like that happen because it does kind of negate a whole lot of their beliefs, right? Because you know, if we can start euthanizing the severely sick, then you know it's a big no-no to them.
Well, yeah, and it is a scary precedent, right? I mean, as much as we think that he should be allowed to die with dignity if he's truly dead, brain dead, you know, it does. When do you start killing the disabled or the mentally handicapped? You know, it's scary. Right? So
I don't know. But, I mean, physically disabled or like slightly mentally disabled is not the same as brain dead.
Absolutely.
You know, and I've gotten in this argument a few times with the anti-abortionists where they're saying, no, life is a heartbeat. If it's got a beating heart, it's life. And I keep saying, no, you're dumb. It all comes from brain activity. If the brain isn't active, you're not fucking alive.
Right.
Like I like to say, like I could carve the heart out of a pig, hook it up to some hydraulics, and keep that heart beating. Is that pig alive?
Absolutely not.
Right? But if I take the brain out of it, there's nothing I can do. That thing is dead. As much as I can, you know, keep them organs pumping blood, that thing is dead. Life is in your brain, people. And if your brain isn't working, unfortunately, you know, you are just a bag of meat. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. If you have no brain and a machine has to keep your heart going and you have to push food through a tube.
You know, and like, again, I'm not a parent, so I can't say how hard it would be, but I can imagine like the anguish these people are feeling. You know, that's their kid. They don't want their kid to die, and especially at their own, like, not necessarily their hands, but, you know, by their behest saying, like, right? Like, I can understand the apprehension of it, but, I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, doctors know when there's literally no brain waves.
Oh, yeah.
If there's no brain waves, there's nothing there. And that's the sad part. I mean, if there's brain waves, then you have a hope. We've seen people come out of comas. It's not super common, but it does happen.
No, yeah.
But, I mean, good luck to Charlie Gard and his parents. I do feel bad for them all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, like, we will keep you updated as this comes about. I'm sure you guys are all hearing it on the internet, too. But it's a case that I kind of am interested in. So.
Actually, surprisingly not. There's not many, well, at least news sources that I look at that are really covering it.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
Well, because I kind of had to give up on BBC and all the bigger ones because I'm so sick and tired of the 45 nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of just scroll past that stuff and look for different stories.
Yeah.
So, speaking of brain dead... Let's talk about Ann Coulter.
Oh my god. Unentitled bitch.
Well, I think I'm going to have a different opinion on this. Okay, so Ann Coulter went on a 24-hour tweet rage against Delta. She took a flight. I don't know where she's going. I don't care that much to know. Yeah, but she did pay the extra money to have special seating because she wanted more legroom. She took the time to research the plane. She looked around. When she's on the plane, the flight attendants came up and asked her to move to another seat. Apparently it was in the same row, and it was a window seat. So, but I don't know if it had the same amount of legroom. I have no clue. But she went on this tweet. She took a picture of the lady who got her seat, was very angry, blah, 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 Ann Coulter style, right?
Mm-hmm.
Delta has come back and said she didn't complain when they made her move. She didn't get riled up until after she got off the plane and started her tweet more. But they said they would refund her the $30,
Yeah.
which I thought was a pretty good little diss,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, they could have drug her at the plane and beat the shit out of her on the way.
Yeah, she was on United.
Yeah, right?
Right? She probably would have been stabbed by a flight attendant. But I mean, here's the thing. We're getting a lot of these things. These stories are coming out every week. There's a news story. The lady had to carry her baby after she bought a freaking plane ticket for the baby.
That guy, the kid was like
toddler,
3 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I freaking despise Ann Coulter. But she bought her extra legroom ticket.
To me, it comes with a whole misunderstanding about how domestic flights are handled. All these flights are overbooked.
Yeah.
The airlines will always oversell the tickets because they don't know if they're actually going to sell out or not. So unfortunately, it doesn't matter. And I mean, it says what here? That she waited 24 hours to switch?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. You waited too long. I'm sorry about your luck. And again, it just shows to me it's just a whole lot of entitlement, especially the Twitter rage.
Yeah. Yeah. Twitter rage. I mean, I go on Twitter and complain too to companies because I feel like I get an answer quicker than if I try to send them an email or something like that. So I do, but I don't go on and be like, F you, whoever I'm mad at.
But that kind of shows like a funny kind of part of our culture now where public shaming somebody gets you a response so much quicker than taking the right channels and trying to be an adult about it, right?
It's true. And I mean, you see people that literally want to close businesses.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this company, they didn't give me an extra plastic bag with my groceries, so F them, we should all shop there now. Yeah, it's pretty prevalent. But I mean, I understand that they like overbook these planes and stuff, but at what point do we get to say something? Because if you stand up and you start to argue, how long until the air marshals are pulling you out and you have a bloody face?
Well, exactly, right? And I mean, let's face it, we all know that after 9/11, they don't play around on the fucking airplanes anymore.
No.
Like, they really don't.
This is why the lady carried her toddler in her lap for 4 or 5 hours, because she was afraid. And she said she's an Asian lady and she was afraid to speak up.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can't blame them. I know that even me traveling, right? Like, I'm not a fucking criminal or anything like that by any means, but like I am nervous as all hell going through airports and stuff now.
Yeah, I've never traveled on a plane, but I honestly would be terrified. I don't want to make a wrong joke.
Yeah.
If I get on the plane with my husband, he's not allowed to drink because he doesn't get rowdy when he drinks, but what if that one time he did?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not happening. I'd be really afraid. So, I mean,
I don't know. I only got drunk on a plane once and it was kind of fun.
Oh my gosh. But I mean, how? Oh, yeah. Describe. You got a story to tell?
No, it's just me and Liz got kind of lit coming home from Iceland, and it was a good time.
How long's that flight?
Reykjavik to Toronto, it was like 3.5 hours, 4 hours, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a quick flight.
I saw a picture yesterday on YouTube. They've got this place where you can go stay in a bed in a bubble in the forest. I'm like, that's it. I want to do that. That looks fun. But it's like $500 for one night.
Yeah, it's not cheap, that's for sure.
No, but it's a once in a lifetime thing. I would try it. But this is the thing that kind of annoys me. Like, I get how things can be moved around and things are overbooked. But if somebody has a ticket and they're already sitting on the plane like this toddler was or Ann Coulter was, how can you then make them move? That's so not fair. And I hate to defend Ann Coulter because I just think she's insane.
Yeah.
But airlines got to do something. I know they have us by the balls because there's really no other way to get around other than like 10 years on a train to get to California or something.
There it is, right?
But I don't know. I mean, you do spend a lot of money on tickets.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, I guess you can't even. I mean, you're just gonna go to another shitty airline because what are you gonna do?
That's just it, though, right? Like. And that's kind of why it brings me back to that whole thing, like with entitlement. Like, to me, it feels to me like she's just entitled and she's going on her little fucking tirade to be like, oh, look at me, woe is me. But at the same point in time, like, You got money, lady. Why don't you just rent a private jet?
That's true. I mean, she sold a lot of those books.
Exactly. Like, I'm supposed
to... But maybe she doesn't got private money.
Like, I'm supposed to feel bad for you because, you know, you have to deal with the shit that every other fucking regular Joe has to deal with when we travel.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't get to cry and moan.
Yeah, and it looked like she was flying. I mean, I don't know all the classes, but it looks pretty cramped, so it doesn't even look like she's flying business class.
Yeah.
So she should at least have first class money.
Yeah, really, though. Like, absolutely. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Good luck to her.
Yeah, exactly. I hope I don't hear about her in the news for the next couple of months.
Yeah. I hope she hasn't written another book that I have to hear about when she goes on all the shows.
Ugh.
So here's another story that came out. It's not necessarily breaking news.
Yeah.
But I kind of found it interesting. So Australia passed through, I'm going to quote, world's first legislation that will deny passports to about 20,000 people on the National Child Sex Offenders Register.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've all heard of sex tourism,
yep.
where a lot of people will go to these countries and have sex. And I mean, it's not definitely child sex offenders are doing it. They're going to Thailand. They're going to, places where maybe children aren't valued as much as, in other places.
Yeah.
And they're going for the purpose to have sex with children. Granted, there's some men and I assume some women that go to these places and have sex with, I hope, adults.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of sex tourism in the world. And sadly, it is most of it going towards children. What's even the number of child exploitation in the world? I don't even know. It's got to be millions.
Well, yeah. Well, I was arguing with an American a little while ago, and he brought up some weird story in Canada, and I went on. And in 2015, there was something like 760,000 registered child sex offenders in the U.S. alone.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like,
that's what they've caught.
Exactly. Those are just the registered ones. So,
yeah.
Like, it's definitely a pandemic. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely something that people need to pay a hell of a lot more attention to. That's not to say it doesn't happen
in Canada. I watched a documentary, and they talked about, the children that are being passed around in Canada and in America. So it's not only here. It's just that it's a little easier to get to in some of these other countries.
Yeah, exactly.
So Australia is now going to not give them their passports. Not at all. So I think that's kind of interesting because in Canada, I looked it up to try to find it. Maclean has an article from 2013 that says the offenders will need to notify, this is all sex offenders, will need to notify the authorities before they leave Canada. Let them know they're going, and I guess when they come back, they'll have to, show where they've been.
Yeah, I personally don't agree with that at all. Not at all. Our dangerous people should not be anybody else's problem.
So you think that they should also be denied their passports?
Absolutely.
I do too, to be honest.
It's a little harsh, and I've heard people say, no, this is one that you can actually rehabilitate people from. Unfortunately for me, I absolutely disagree. We all know that children are innocent, and they do not deserve to be victimized in that way. You are making the choice to do it. You're a monster, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't care about your compulsions. I have compulsions too, and I try to keep, like when I get mad and I want to stab somebody in the eye, I don't. I was just
gonna say, like, I want to stab people on a daily basis. I don't do it, because I enjoy my freedom. I enjoy not being a dredge on society. But
I think we should deny them.
Yep.
If there was a severe emergency, say you're in Canada and your mother is now dying in, say, London, England, okay, maybe we can make an exception and you'll be allowed to travel to there only for a shorter period of time.
Yeah.
But I don't think they should be allowed to go to any of these places where we know that you can walk right down the street and find a kid.
Exactly. And I mean, there is a bit of a gray area to it as well, right? Because, like, again, my house backs onto a school field. So let's say I'm out in my backyard drinking and I decide the bathroom's too far away. I just want to take a piss in my backyard.
Yeah.
I could technically be charged as a sex offender, right? Now, someone who does something as innocuous as that should not be denied the right to travel.
No.
But at the same point in time, you are now on that list.
Yeah. Well, and there's some crazy cases. I mean, some of these guys that get on there because they had sex with a 16-year-old girl, and maybe they truly didn't know she was 16 years old, or maybe the girl really wanted to have sex with them. I don't know. We know it's against the law. You probably shouldn't do it.
Yep.
But you've done it. Is that person, if the person willingly had sex at 16 or 17 with you,
Yeah. Well, there's another thing I heard not that long ago. A guy who was 18, he was dating this girl that he was in high school with, but he turned 18. She was just turning 17, and he got charged as for having child pornography because he had nude photos of her on his phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, and that's I tell my son that all the time. I'm like, even though you're a kid, don't have that stuff on your phone because you can get charged.
Right? Like there's this weird gray area now, and especially with the prevalence of nude photos on people's phones. Like, to me, that's a scary thing, especially for the younger people. I'm so happy I didn't have to deal with that.
And kids are highly sexualized, and I'm not saying just now. No. They were when I was a kid too. It's just that they have phones and the internet now.
Exactly. They can put it on fucking Instagram.
Yeah. So, I mean, Logan's first year in high school, apparently there was a video going around of a grade 9 giving a grade 12 a BJ.
Yeah.
And he said they were sending it around. I'm like, if they send that to you, you need to delete it away, Logan.
Yeah. Delete it.
Because you don't want to get caught with that.
Yep.
So it's a scary thing. But, I mean, we do need to protect children. I don't have a problem with somebody who's a known child predator having his passport revoked.
For me, personally, I think they should all be chemically castrated.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you.
I'm really harsh when it comes to crime. I am. I've known this for years. Like, I personally believe that rehabilitation is a fucking joke with a lot of cases.
Yeah.
You know, even what was that? Marco Muzzo, the drunk driver that killed those 3 kids and the guy, and he got 8 years in prison.
Yeah.
I was so mad about this for fucking months. And like Liz kept saying, no, calm down. Like, you're right, but calm down. It's like, well, no, you knowingly fucking did this, man. Like, that guy he revoked his rights as a citizen the moment he decided to get behind the wheel of a fucking vehicle drunk.
For people who aren't aware, he's a guy who went drunk driving and he killed 3 children and their grandfather. Yeah. 3 children all under the age of like 7 or something.
Yeah, they were children. And he got 8 years in prison. Like, I'm sorry, no, you negated your right as a citizen the moment you got behind the wheel of that fucking vehicle drunk. And I feel the same way with pedophiles. The moment you decide that you're gonna try to touch a child, no, fuck you, bud.
Again, and there's been so many cases where pedophiles themselves have come out and said you cannot rehabilitate us.
Right? What was that famous guy, Stuckless? Gordon Stuckless,
yes,
the guy,
Gordon
right?
Stuckless.
He said it, and he actually went willingly through chemical castration. Yeah. And he said flat out, I'm not rehabilitated.
Yeah, we're suppressing the desires, hopefully. But, yeah, I mean, they say that's it. They'll do it until they die or, until they're in jail for the rest of their lives.
But here's the thing with this Australian ruling. And I've seen this a few times, and I don't know if it's like a real fringe. It's got to be a fringe thing. But with the whole trans rights and all that kind of stuff, I've seen people argue for age rights. That the love between an adult and a child is just as legitimate as the love between 2 adults, and it's a very frustrating fucking thought.
Like NAMBLA, remember NAMBLA? I don't know if they're popular now, but I remember they were in the news all the time in the 90s and early 2000s. National Association Man-Boy Lover,
something. Yeah, I heard about that on South Park first, and then I went and looked at it, and I was like, this is fucking insane. Like, this is crazy.
But that's even like your guy Milo.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of says that he likes, like 13, 14, 15-year-old boys are old enough to decide whether they want to have sex with a man.
Yeah, see, I don't agree with that. That was like I said, I like Milo. I do. I love his delivery. I like his comedy. There are things that he says that I just find absolutely abhorrent. That being one of them.
Yeah. I mean, if we say a 15-year-old girl can't make the decision to have sex with a 25-year-old man, then a 15-year-old boy should not be allowed to either.
No, not at all. But isn't that funny, though, how there is that double standard between boys and girls? Like boys were that much more headstrong, where as a boy, I'll tell you right now, we're not. We're really not.
A 15-year-old boy that gets to nail his hot teacher, he's a hero.
Yeah.
Right? But if a 15-year-old girl has sex with a hot teacher, she's a victim.
Yeah, she's a victim. Exactly.
And that's part of the problem why a lot of these men later in life can't come forward because, men aren't allowed to be victims.
No, not at all. A man gets raped and it's funny.
Yeah, not to me.
No.
But I know, but that's it. Yeah, it's awful. And,
But I mean, I kind of feel like Australia is kind of leading the charge with this fight against the PC culture.
Well, they're definitely not PC there. That's
exactly.
for sure.
Exactly. from from a lot of the Aussies that I've had the pleasure of talking to, they're very headstrong. They're not against progress, but they're against it being shoved down their throat for the sake of just progress, right?
Yeah.
And I respect that. I absolutely respect that. But I mean, back to this pedophilia thing. I mean, they should never be let out. The moment you find out that these people touch children, no, throw them somewhere. Put them in the darkest corner you have and just leave them there to rot. They made their fucking choice.
Yeah, and you see a lot of times where people are, committing crimes against children, sex crimes against children.
Yeah.
And they don't even get a year.
Right? Because it's not even just the the act of touching the kid. It also comes with the mental anguish later on of that child that was touched.
Yeah,
how many of these people end up offending themselves?
Or not just suicidal.
Exactly, right? Like you're destroying somebody's life while their brain's still developing. You're teaching them that abuse and all that stuff is just, hey, it's cool, man. Don't worry. Don't tell anyone. This is our secret. No, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
No respect.
You've done a lot to their psyche. Yeah. And you do. You injure them and they have a lot of problems as teenagers and adults. And, it's sad. And
it's a disgusting thing.
You can't rehabilitate a lot of these people. That's the thing. It's kind of scary.
And it's messed up when you really look at it, because it's been happening for thousands and thousands of years. It's not like this is a new thing. I mean, shit, 200 years ago, it was commonplace for a 50-year-old man to marry a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Right? So, it is kind of ingrained in us. And I've heard this argument from the, I don't know what they'd be labeled as, the ageists, I guess. And they say, the 13, 14-year-old girls, that's when they are prime for child rearing. They are at their healthiest. There's less chance of birth defects and stuff like that. But at the same point in time, they're fucking children. They're children. I might be 30, but I still remember what it was to be 14, and I was dumb as shit. Like, I was nowhere near ready to make those types of fucking life decisions.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's the same thing. I mean, I got married and had my kids around 26, 27. Let me tell you, those were still huge life-changing decisions, and I was a quote-unquote adult. Yeah. So I don't know how you expect a 13-year-old girl to make a life choice, or a 13-year-old boy to make a life choice.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird.
Let's
even here in Oshawa. Sorry to kind of drag on about this.
It's fine.
But just in my neighborhood alone, coming up, there were 5 known sex predators. And I mean, these guys were known. We all knew about them, and they were all walking the streets. You know where we live, or where I live. Yeah. Parks all over the place. There's a school behind my house. You'd see these guys just
running all over playing. Yeah.
Right. They would just stand there and watch them and stuff, and no one would do a damn thing about it. Jeez. I'm sorry. These people need to be locked away and fucking see you later.
It's scary. You don't want to look at the map of where the sex predators are, because
not at all.
It will terrify you. You'll never sleep again. I will say this. I remember this. When I was a teenager, I went to summer camp. So I was 13 the first year I went to that camp. And I remember sitting around in a group, and some of the girls were talking about their boyfriends. So these girls are my age. Yep. They were the 13, 14, 15, the oldest being 15. And they were talking about their boyfriends, and 3 or 4 of them were saying how their boyfriends were in their 20s.
Ugh.
And I remember being like, that's an old man. Like, because when you're a teenager, that's so old.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean?
Man, exactly.
That literally, you may as well have been with my grandfather at that point. It was so old, and I didn't understand it. And honestly, to this day, I still don't understand it. I don't understand what any teenage girl would see in an older guy. I guess maybe money and cars or something. Or they've been manipulated. And we all know what the guy sees in the girl. He's some perv that wants to get in a young piece. But Jesus.
Oh, yeah, I knew. And I mean, again, I don't like giving out names. But when I was in middle school, I knew a girl who was 13 dating a 19-year-old.
Jesus.
Had her.
Are parents aware of this stuff?
Oh, yeah, they didn't care, but they were fucking alcoholics, right? And he was old enough to go to the beer store and get them beer, so.
So they sold their kids for beer.
Pretty much. Jesus yeah. Oh, yeah. Christ. It was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting.
That is a crime.
Yeah, same here.
That's a true case where somebody should be arrested and charged. But Jesus Christ. Okay, well, let's move on, because now I'm all disgusted.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know anything about this Bernie Sanders' wife thing?
Not a lot. I try to ignore Bernie as much as I can.
You're not a Bernie supporter?
Well, I'm pretty sure me and you have had my anti-communism talk before.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
So, you know what I mean? I try to just avoid that fucking idiot as much as I can. But yeah, I heard a bit.
I like a lot of things about Bernie. You know, no one's perfect. He has a lot of things I don't quite necessarily agree with. But I do like that he inspires young people to get involved in politics.
Oh, absolutely.
But apparently his wife has a scandal. She was involved with a Vermont college, which was Burlington College. I don't know if she was the dean at the time, but she had a role in it. So there was a land deal. I guess they were buying 33 acres of lakefront property. They were supposed to raise some money. They were sorry, there was a bank loan, and some of the money they thought would come back from college donors. At least $2.6 million of that debt was supposed to come back.
Okay.
It did not. She was ousted, and the college closed. It literally went bankrupt.
All right.
Now, people are trying to say that she took a deal on this, or she got a kickback or something, because they bought a $575,000 vacation home just after. Now, is it a witch hunt? Is it true? What do you think? What do you think's going on?
It's a bit of a witch hunt, but I mean, he kind of called it up on him fucking self. I mean, taking a socialist stand in such a capitalist country, he had to understand how this shit was going to backfire on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He had to know that these fucking true to form capitalists are going to dig into every damn thing he's done to be like, look, this guy's fucking lying to you, kids. He owns 4 fucking homes. You think he's going to give them up and split the money up to you? Fuck no.
Yeah.
He just said what you want to hear. And, like, let's face it, end of high school, college, university age adults, I guess you want to call them. I still call them kids. They're such idealists, and they hear this thing, and they're like, oh, my God, what a utopia. This is my fucking jam. This is what I want to do. But then you start looking at him like, wait, this guy's a fucking liar. This guy doesn't believe in this shit.
Well, I do think he believes in it to some degree. I think he's not a true communist in the sense that he really does want to divvy it up all equally. I think he wants to make things more available to people. But, I mean, of course he wants to live in his nice house and have his nice, comfortable salary to fall back on.
Who doesn't?
Exactly. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do think his heart's wrong or in the right place.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they've been pretty squeaky clean. If this is the only thing that they can find on them, and there's really no true evidence that I mean, he makes a lot of money. He's a freaking senator, and maybe she was a freaking dean of a college.
Oh yeah, you can't fucking gripe on them because they went out and got good jobs and make a good living.
Yeah.
You know, you really can't. And you're absolutely correct. Like, it is a witch hunt. It is people just trying to find something to discredit this guy. But I mean, that's just the climate we live in right now. It's all about digging up dirt.
Why does this scandal, if this is truly a scandal, and even if she did take this kickback, okay, is he aware of it? We have to assume he'd have to know where suddenly a huge chunk of money came from.
Yeah.
Is he why is he tarnished by it? If he doesn't know, if he's not aware, it's kind of like the similar things going through other government officials right now.
I was just going to bring that up, right? Because it kind of draws us not a similar parallel, but it is kind of parallel to what's happening with, you know, Idiot Junior.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so it is kind of guilt by association, especially when you're that close. Mm-hmm. Like, unfortunately, we are kind of responsible for the misgivings of our spouses.
Yeah.
You know, like,
well, and that's, you can't be completely unaware in that sense. Like I said, if a huge chunk of money suddenly turns up in the bank. Yeah,
like, I know if my old lady somehow got $5 million, I'd be like, who the fuck did you rob?
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly. I'm like, bank error.
Yeah. I mean, let's not fucking tell anybody else, and, you know, let's go buy Ferraris, but whatever.
I'd take it out and bury it in the backyard. What the hell? I don't want that in the bank. I'd be terrified.
Yeah,
they're going to come take that back.
Yeah. Ugh. But I don't know, like, I do feel bad for the guy because, you know, he has, like, he's been the real kind of target for a lot of the right's hate.
And the left. Like, think about it. A lot of the Democrats don't like him either because he's taking a lot of their voters away.
Yep. No, it's actually a fair point. Like, if he hadn't run, in that last election, I mean, Hillary probably would have had a way better chance.
Well, because once they saw that the DNC had working against Bernie, then
Yeah.
a lot of people were very angry at the Liberals and turned their backs on them.
Oh yeah. But again,
Yeah.
like running on a socialist platform in the States, I mean, he had to understand this was going to happen.
Well,
He
in
has
any
to know-
politics, I
Yeah.
mean, people are looking for everything. They're going back, to puberty to find every little thing he did.
Well, I can remember even like during the running, like people were bringing up his arrest during the civil rights movement, trying to say, "Oh, he's a criminal. He's a criminal." Well, no, the guy's actually kind of a fucking hero, but whatever.
Yeah, that's
Like,
protesting
whatever.
for a change. Yeah.
You know, like I really can't fault the guy for that, even though I'm not a big fan of him and what he's kind of spiraled, not himself, but the kind of movement that he's kind of brought forward with the Marxists and shit like that are
Yeah.
coming out of the fucking woodworks.
Yeah.
And that's my whole issue. Like, socialism is great. I live in a social capitalist country. I fucking love it. Like, I
Yeah.
really do. But he kind of did usher in a thought process of like true communism and Marxism that is just so fucking abhorrent to me. Like, I've
Yeah.
told you how I'm constantly on the internet fighting with Antifa and shit like that.
Yeah, I know that.
And I say to them all the time, I'm like, why hasn't any country or state ever started off as communist? And they have no answer. And I'll tell you exactly what the answer is, because there's no fucking wealth for you to leech off of. You can't generate enough wealth to keep your population happy. Even like with what he was saying about free college, how secondary education should be free. No, you can't do that. That doesn't work, man. It doesn't work. What gives the incentive for actually intellectual people to take that profession, their professor job?
Well, they get paid somehow. How did free college work in Finland and Sweden and those places?
The way higher socialism.
Yeah.
Which again is cool.
They're
Like,
paying a lot more taxes there
Yeah.
than they pay in the United States.
oh, absolutely. Which is fine. Again, like if they can come to a collective agreement, like even here in Canada, I would love to see it. I would love to
That's
see
coming
these.
in.
Yeah, I would
in Ontario.
love to see these tuitions drop. I really would. Like
Yeah.
a friend of mine who's in school right now is paying just over $12,000 a year to be a social worker.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? That's fucking
So
highway
I tell my
robbery.
son, get in a trade, man. Get in a trade.
No, but I don't know. I mean, if it's true, like, what are they going to do? You know what I mean? Like, if they did take these kickbacks or whatever, like, what
Well,
happens?
they'll have to find. The thing is, this is never going to go away now.
Yeah,
I mean, we all remember Hillary Clinton testifying 3 times for hours at a time about
Yeah.
the Benghazi thing and about the emails, and nothing came from either of them because I guess there was nothing to find as far as evidence. I mean, I don't know. They won't ever let it go.
No.
It'll always be there. He'll be at a debate and somebody will, under their breath be like, your wife's kickback.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, though, it's just
Yeah.
it's that fucking climate we live in right now. It's insane. It's crazy that past grievances will just be thrown in someone's face, even without evidence. Just
That's
the
the thing.
tiniest speculation that it might have happened, and people are gonna run with it.
That's one of the things that I can't remember if it was John Oliver or Bill Maher that was talking about how we've become, especially in America at this point, we've become a culture of where opinions have become facts,
Yeah.
which is obviously not the case. A fact is a fact, but people, I hear or I think or I feel. No,
Yeah.
your feeling doesn't equal a fact.
Yep.
And that's the problem is people now think with their feelings instead of their heads.
That's why I constantly say, fuck your feelings. I don't care about your
Yeah.
fucking feelings. I'm not here to appeal to your feelings. Like, if you're sad, go in the corner and fucking cry. I don't care. Come at me with facts. And I mean hard fucking facts. Like facts that I can fact check from more than one source and not just like a single-sided think tank.
Exactly.
You know?
Look, your feelings obviously go into helping you shape your opinions and your beliefs, which is fine. Everybody's entitled to their feelings. I always say that to my kid. You're
Yeah.
mad, you're entitled to be mad. You
Yep.
can't come at me and call me an effing bitch, though. Like, that's
No.
not how it's going to go. And that's the same thing. If you want to be in politics and you want to have obviously your feelings are shaping how you think,
Yeah.
but you still have to have a fact to back it up. I
There
love
is.
45 because of ABC, whatever your reasons may be.
Yeah.
I dislike 45 because of ABC.
Yeah.
Not just because I don't like the way his toupee looks or
Yeah.
any of those reasons. You have to have a real reason.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a weird time to be alive.
It
At
is
least for
so
me, because like again, like I'm coming on 30. I still kind of feel like I'm a young adult, at least within the realm of politics. You know what I mean? I've voted in 4 federal elections. You know, I feel like I'm still just coming into it, but I feel like my parents' generation and their parents' generation, they didn't have to deal with this kind of stuff. There was more integrity within the news. More, there was a way bigger need for actual facts.
I think this is how the internet has hurt the news.
Yeah.
Because, you know, growing up, you went to the newspaper, you went to magazines, you went to the news, and you got real unbiased, you know, news.
Yeah.
It just reported the news. Ryan and I were talking about this the other day. They just reported the facts, and then you were left to come to your own decisions. And you know, am I now going to be conservative? Am I now going to be a liberal? Who knows? They didn't tell you how to think. And now so many, and I mean, even the ones I go to, I know are liberal biased because I want to read that. I'm sorry. I don't want to read a lot of, you know, pro-conservative stuff. I'll read it sometimes, but I'm not spending my day looking at that stuff. I know you read everything.
See, that's the funny thing with me, because like I've said it before, I think that I'm fairly in the center, but I do lean more towards the conservative side. I don't really read conservative news because I feel that way already. I go to a lot of the liberal stuff so I can not necessarily inform myself, but come to an actual unbiased opinion where I'm like, okay, I see your side. This is my side. We can come to an agreement. Now the far sides on both of them, no, I ignore all that fucking shit. Like there's no way. I have never once looked at a fucking Breitbart article, and I won't. I will not.
No, I refuse.
And other than that zombie thing you got me to do, fuck BuzzFeed. Like, fuck that fucking thing. I won't fucking look at them.
I don't usually read a lot of their news articles, to be honest. I usually just go for quizzes.
Yeah, you know, and it seems, or even what's the other one? Vox. Oh, I can't fucking stand them.
I've never been to Vox. I don't even know.
God, they're.
Oh no, yeah, you shared me a link to them.
They're fucking ridiculous, like absolutely ridiculous. And again, it's like on both sides. I feel like they're all conspiracy theorists now. There's no hard fact. It's feelings and conjecture, and it's like, no, give me something concrete. Show me the numbers. If you can't, then I'm just going to take it as fucking rhetoric. And I believe that that's how most of us should go. And it kind of draws back to this Bernie thing. If there's no evidence, people, give it the fuck up.
Yeah. And just stop beating the dead horse.
And I know we don't want to talk about 45 on the show, but I feel the same fucking way about all this goddamn Russia shit. Yeah. You know, it took CNN 3 hours to find a kid that made a meme on Reddit. 3 hours to find him and dox him and give out all his fucking personal information. But 6 months you can't find one fucking piece of evidence. Shut up. It's done. It's over. Fuck out of here. You're just fucking wasting breath because you have nothing fucking else.
Well, they just have to. I'm talking about like this morning for the show. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find articles, and I'm like, Jesus, there's nothing to really talk about too much. And I'm like, how does CNN fill a whole day? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, they just talk about nothing.
Exactly. They get a panel of 9 fucking idiots to go on about fucking idiot shit that leads nowhere. And then, 2-3 days later, there'll be this tiny little retraction on their little fucking ticker. Like, oh, we were wrong. Sorry. And then they keep talking the same fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, it's so dumb.
And can I just say this? Anybody listening? Before you click share on Facebook, can you please just freaking one time in your life check the article to see if it's real?
Right? Like, stop sharing shit from like fucking. I don't even know any of these dumbass fucking news sources, but the name of the source itself should tell you that this is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, if you're sharing something from fucking jihadiwatch.org.fucking.blu, that's bullshit. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not real.
I double check. Like sometimes things seem. I remember the one, and this isn't any political. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the one that went around about Subway? I mean, it still goes around every once in a while. They warn you about dihydroxy, some shit. It's water.
It's water, yeah. And people share it and like, oh my god, they're poisoning us. No, you're just stupid.
They use it in making yoga mats and
like you're just fucking
water is
stupid.
Used in everything. Please think.
It just goes to show you how everyone likes the appearance of being informed, but none of them actually want to do the fucking work to be informed. Oh. Like, you know, nobody wants to be called out as a fucking idiot or uninformed, but like, seriously, people, do the fucking work. Like, it's not
No,
hard.
it takes 5 seconds to look at Snopes.
Yeah,
I like to go to Snopes because at least that will tell me right away whether it's false or true.
Yeah.
And I can do a little more research if I want to. And I love, it's awful to say, but I can't help myself when I see someone's posting something really blatantly wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I'll drop the Snopes link in there right away.
Yeah.
Like, wrong. The one going around about how the Muslim refugees get like $5,700 a month or whatever, that one drives me effing insane.
It's so insane. Like I was saying on the last Monday show about how I talked to a lot of Westerners, and they keep perpetuating this fucking nonsense of like how Canada, we're selling our land to the Muslims, and like, show me the fucking proof, idiot. Like, show me hard, concrete fucking proof that Trudeau is making these backdoor fucking deals with the Saudis to sell fucking land to them. Like, you're fucking dumb.
Trudeau just seems like the guy who really wants to be, the leader of the new Muslim country with Sharia law.
Right? And even that shit. Oh, you'll see. There's a bill coming that's going to put us all under Sharia law. Well, no, that doesn't work, you fucking retard. Sorry for that word because I know it's offensive to people, but
it's not a good word.
You're pretty fucking mentally handicapped if you fucking believe that.
Yeah.
But fuck, it boils my blood so much. And I kind of feel like in Canada, it's because our news doesn't really focus on the bad. It's all PR shit. It's all, look at the good, look at what we're doing. No, you gotta actually show what the fuck is wrong that's happening, or else people are just going to run with these crazy fucking wild goose chase nonsense fucking stories.
Yeah.
But the Trudeau fucking Sharia law Muslim shit is just, it's making me laugh.
It's not
so
happening,
much.
people.
Of course
Don't be afraid. Stop being afraid of every Muslim you see or every person that's different than you. You don't have to be. Stop living your life in fear.
Here's the one thing that anyone who's afraid of Sharia law has to understand. It doesn't apply to you unless you are a fucking Muslim.
Yeah.
Boom. Done. It doesn't negate our country's laws.
Exactly.
It is a set of religious rules for people that are following said religion. Just like the 10 Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what? Am I supposed to be fucking scared of those and go beat the shit out of every Christian or fucking protest out front of their church because I don't necessarily, you know what I mean? Like, give two shits about their fucking rules? It's dumb. It's stupid. Give it the fuck up. Get informed. Stop talking at your fucking assholes. And please stop sharing it to fucking Facebook, you dummies.
Yeah, please stop. I know something else that's got you riled up. You want to talk about this Cornwallis?
Well, it's just so fucking dumb. It's so dumb.
Okay, so we spoke about it a few weeks ago. We had the Canada 150 celebrations. The Native Indigenous group, the Micmacs, had a protest of Cornwallis at the statue of him in Halifax, basically saying that he, had the bounty for the Micmac scalps, and he shouldn't be a hero in their eyes as a founder.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the Proud Boys showed up. Was it five Proud Boys?
It was 5 of them. No, just 5.
5 of them showed up, and they didn't really cause a ruckus. I'll say that at least. There was some words exchanged, but I don't believe it even got to shouting.
Nope.
And they just kind of stood there for a while, and then they left.
Yep. Now, my issue is these 5 men were servicemen in the Canadian Army. They went to a public park with a Canadian flag. Now, it wasn't the Canadian flag that most people know. It was the Canadian flag that we had pre-67.
Before the Maple Leaf.
Yes. So they walked into this park, which they're allowed to. It is a public park. They are Canadian citizens. They have every right to be there. And, they're called racist and white supremacists because they're wearing Fred Perry shirts, which is fucking hilarious to me. That, like, a fucking polo shirt is synonymous with skinheads. But whatever. The thing that has really bothered me is that Harjit Singh, our National Defense Minister, has put these boys on blast. These boys are now being discharged. When 3 of them were in fact Native. How the hell can you be a white supremacist Native? The Micmac.
Now, how do you know they're Native? Because I tried to research that and I couldn't find anything.
You're not going to be happy with this, but Gavin McInnes did a fairly informative little video on it, on the Rebel.
That's the guy
again,
who's
he's the founder of the Proud Boys.
Yeah, okay.
Now, again, I can't say that I stand exactly with the Proud Boys. I think some of their tactics are kind of stupid. But I do respect what they're doing. I really do. They're standing up for free speech. They're not a violent organization. They will defend themselves, but they're not a violent organization. The thing that pisses me off is just the misinformation that is going around surrounding this whole Cornwallis thing. So it breaks down kind of like this. So obviously that period of time in Canada's history, you had the French and you had the English and you had the natives in between us. So obviously the English and the French are just murdering the shit out of each other. Got fairly proficient at it. You know, we weren't really killing each other as quickly as we like. So the French decided to hire the Micmac, which were fucking amazing killers. Amazing. Like these guys were really fucking good at it, to kill the English. So Cornwallis put the bounty on them. Funny thing is I can't find any information that that bounty was ever collected.
Yeah, from what I've read, I tried to research that too. I don't think there ever
None.
one time.
And everything that I've seen kept saying it's because the Micmac were so goddamn good at killing us that it was really hard to kill them. So they're actually tearing down or complaining about a statue that actually kind of shows that they're fucking badasses.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know.
My thought on this is like, I think that everybody has the right to peacefully protest.
Yep.
I don't care what your belief is. I mean, I don't like the KKK, but if they're having a peaceful protest, they should be allowed.
Absolutely.
They didn't destroy anything. They weren't loud. They didn't interrupt the prayers. They just came and stood there.
Yep.
I don't like these guys, but everybody has the right to peaceful protest, and everybody has the right to free speech in Canada. I think just because you're in the military or armed forces or the Navy doesn't mean that you lose your right to your voice and your beliefs. They didn't come in their uniforms.
Nope.
They didn't try to come and present themselves as armed forces making a protest. So I don't think that they should be, you know, discharged or, you know, kicked out of the military. I think that's kind of wrong. And
even what Mr. Singh says is that we cannot have white supremacists in the military because how can you fight beside someone that you hate? Now that's a very fair statement. I can't see anything wrong with that. Prove to me that they're white supremacists.
Yeah.
Can you prove
now,
it to
maybe
me?
he has more information than we do, or is he just going off news things?
I kind of believe he's just going off the news. I kind of believe it's just more, we don't want to be seen as hate mongers, so let's just kind of, you know, erase it now. And, you know, maybe deal with the backlash. Well, you know what's going to happen.
They're going to get a lawyer.
Yep.
And they're going to get a huge settlement if they've been discharged without real proof of action or anything. I mean, if they haven't had any postings or witnesses saying that they're doing anything white power sort of thing, I mean, they're gonna win a settlement, and I think that they should if they truly are just peaceful protesters that. You know.
They're just there, you know, expressing their freedom of self-expression, which is a constitutional right, or not constitutional, sorry, but a charter right. Now, if these boys, if it's found out that their rights were infringed upon, do they get $10 million?
They'll get a settlement. They're definitely going to get a settlement. Maybe $10 million. I don't know. I mean, they weren't tortured and left to linger for 9 years in a jail.
I'm just being a dick. So the one thing that actually really ticked me off about this video. And it was just a quick clip. I didn't see the full thing. I actually can't find the full video. But so when they walk up, and this is they kind of miffed me. There was a landed immigrant yelling at them about colonization. Like this guy was from what I'm guessing is somewhere in Africa, and he's yelling at them about colonization and about how they stole land. It's like, really, bro? You're not even a motherfucking Canadian. Like, you don't really have the right, as far as I'm concerned.
Maybe he's a Canadian now. He could have his citizenship.
Possibly. I don't know. I don't know too many.
He's not a natural-born Canadian. I get your point.
But even at that, if you've got your citizenship in Canada, as far as I'm concerned, you have every right to fucking bitch about everything. Flat out.
Yeah.
Like, because I've said this before. If you're Canadian and you love this country, I love you, and I will suffer all your insufferable fucking nonsense. But I don't know, it just bugs me, and I don't like
when people. Okay, this is, I don't know if it's controversial. The whole colonization thing.
Yep.
Look, I didn't colonize nothing. Yes, my people, my ancestors. Look, going back to the 1600s when Quebec was first being colonized by French people. That's our family. I trace that back.
Yeah.
So we were some of the first people coming here. I didn't do that. Would I be here without them? No, I wouldn't be. Do I make a living off the country of Canada? Of course I do. And I'm sorry, I don't think we should treat our Native people the way we have. No, absolutely not. But I'm not colonizing anything. I'm here now. I want to help get better rights for the indigenous people. I'm sorry, I'm not a colonist.
The colonization argument negates the fact that most of these tribes sold their land. They like to seem to ignore the fact that their tribal elders sold their fucking land for shiny beads and weapons. And that's not a racist thing to say. That's the fucking truth.
No, that's the truth. That is the truth. But how do you justify in the sense that they never had that kind of concept? You know what I mean? It's like if I went to a kid who's never learned about money, and I try to take something from them for, they had $100 and I'm like, oh, look, here, I've got a bag of gummy bears. Of course, they're going to trade it if they don't understand about money or about the concept of owning land.
No, you're
did we take advantage of them? Of course we did.
Absolutely. But can you honestly tell me that they weren't taking advantage of themselves? Like, I got in this argument a little while ago with this native guy, and I kept saying, like, you guys were all warring tribes. You guys were all killing each other for your land and resources and shit. So what that a more advanced people came in and did it better than you? Such is life. Such is fucking life.
And it is. I mean, it's going to be no difference when the aliens come here to invade us.
I hate arguing with straw men, but that's my favorite straw man against this.
Yeah.
If a more advanced civilization comes here and they want what we have, are they going to appeal to our humanity? No, they're just going to fucking murder us and take what they want.
See us as cockroaches and take the planet.
That's nature.
Can I go back to that? We talked about the aliens the other day. I watched a horrible documentary. I thought, oh, you know what? We talked about aliens and I'm interested. I watched that Stan Romanek one on Netflix.
Oh, what one is that?
Stan Romanek is a guy who thinks he's Starseed.
Oh, yeah, the batshit crazy dude from, I think it's like California.
That guy is up in, I think, Colorado.
Oh,
He's so up his own ass. The guy is delusional. He's like, I guess they come here because I'm a more advanced person or more evolved than everybody else. Like, he just went on, and I was just like, wanted to gag. And then at the end of the thing, they talk about how he was found with child pornography on his computer. And he, of course, says that the government put it there.
They planted it.
The government or the aliens have planted it to frame him, and he's going to have his day in court. Don't watch that documentary. It was horrible. Horrible. This guy's name is Starseed, and they have some. You need to look up. He's got the one with the alien where it peekaboos up from the windowsill.
Yeah, I watched that one. But again,
that's so fake.
I was all bombed out on edibles, right? So it was all trippy as fuck to me. Like, but again, it brings me back to the point that I made on the show, right? It's like we were just so quick to write these people off. Now even I wrote off like, you had a fucking puppet of a gray, bro. No, just no.
And he was just like, I mean, in my opinion, he was not believable at all. He was nuts, and he was just like deluded. I'll keep my mind open. We have Sister Patty, who's home today, I guess from work with her sore back. Sorry, Patty. I hope you're feeling better too. She made a good point. I like this. She says she misses the days of intelligent political debates.
Yeah. It's
and sniping and
exactly. It's all mudslinging. It's all finding out one egregious thing that this person did and just beating it to fucking death.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, how many people that vote actually vote on the actual issues that are facing their nations at that time rather than it being a popularity contest? You know, I feel like our political climate now is like that shitty MTV show, that fucking Your Mama, where they're just in a ring shouting fucking Your Mama jokes at each other, and whoever has the best joke gets the loudest fucking applause, and that's the winner.
Gosh.
That's kind of how I feel like politics are right now.
And, I mean, look, 45 was a popular television personality. Now they're talking about The Rock is going to be running in 2020. Kid Rock is going to run for Senate.
Oh, that guy needs to die.
You know, like,
is Kanye still up?
Oh God.
Yeah.
I despise Kanye.
Who doesn't?
Kardashians.
The fuck.
But you know, it just, especially in municipal politics, I think that's really where you're affected a lot as well. People don't pay attention at the municipal level, and they really need to, because you know, that's your streets, that's your schools that are affected that.
During our federal elections, I'll tell you right now, I do not listen to the national leaders at all. I listen to the people in my riding, because they're the ones that they directly affect me.
Yeah. And I've previously had voted for a person that was my MPP.
Yep.
Regardless of his political party, because I just thought he was doing so much for the community. I had to vote for him. Yeah.
Yep. But most people, they negate that fact. They look at it in the bigger picture. Well, especially here in Canada, you have the Liberal, the NDP, and the Conservatives. I mean, you have the Green Party mixed in there, but they're 20, 30 years from actually, like, even making a real dent, you know?
Yeah.
But it's funny because young people, they're so easy to kind of sway.
Manipulate?
Exactly, manipulate. That's a great word. Like, I mean, you just say legal marijuana, and now you have all these young people going, yeah, woo, this is our guy.
Yeah.
Without
but do you think really
it.
A lot of people just voted that way just because of that?
I believe a lot of uninformed stoners did. A lot of people that
I've been always pro legalized marijuana for years, like at least 20 years, just because I thought, why wouldn't we make a ton of tax money off of it?
There it is. You know, I argue with this a lot. Like, you'll never stop people doing drugs. Never.
Yeah.
Ever. You cannot stop it. If we want to get high, we're gonna get high. Why not, you know, reap some of the benefits of it?
But I mean, I voted for Justin Trudeau not for that reason. I just really did think he was going to bring in some positive change, and he has in some ways. Some things I agree with, a lot of things I don't. I've said that plenty of times. I don't know if I'll be voting for him again. I guess it'll depend on who he's up against.
Well, let's face it, the Conservative guy, Scheer, I don't think he has much of a leg to stand on.
No, he's even worse than freaking in Ontario. We have Patrick Brown, who I cannot stomach, and this Scheer guy is worse than him. So I won't be voting Conservative. I don't think I would ever vote Conservative. Maybe NDP if there was a right leader, but I don't know. Guess we'll see.
I'll predict it right now. We'll end up with a Conservative premier in Ontario.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to sway back.
Absolutely.
Please not Andrew Scheer. Please somebody else. So, well, that'll be the end of the show. Yeah. Thanks for listening. See you on Wednesday. Ryan, I hope you feel better. Sister Patty, I hope your back feels better. And have a good week, and see you Wednesday.
Yeah, take care.